And this time I'm trying to record at the same time. Hopefully this is not a complete mess then of doing both things at the same time. I'm a game developer, mainly in AAA at the moment, at least for my job. But my goal right now is to complete a side project because I have had a lot of trouble starting side projects and not ending them. My goal is to actually try, my best at least, to start a game project and then end the game project and actually release it on Steam and actually have it be an actual thing that I actually have out there, which might be a bit of a struggle just because I don't end things very often. The goal of the first goal really now is to try to get a game engine started, try to get something on the screen, try to maybe get key inputs, something like that with some graphics on there. I'm going to be using MonoGame. MonoGame, if I bring up this page over here, and we go into, done some research just in general inside of here. MonoGame has made a whole bunch of games, stuff like Stardew Valley, Celeste, things of that nature. It's based on Microsoft's XNA, and technically SDL is like one part of that, so the rendering engine of it. But that's what I'm going to be using as sort of like the base framework of the actual thing, mainly because I like C# and because it's just me alone. And I'm going to be trying to make something, at least trying to make a game and trying to make my own engine off of it, rather than trying to go down Godot. Really don't want to try to go down the Unity way because I'd really would rather not have a bunch of licensing issues. And MonoGame rather, if I go over to just MonoGame's general thing, is entirely free. Here we go. No licensing costs, no royalties, no runtime fee. You have to make it though. You have to make the whole engine, the whole tools, everything. Well, I've done it before. And I've done it before with a different project of mine. So if I go into here, I did it before with some of my university projects. So this project over here, I actually did it with a remake of Super Mario Bros. I'm not going to play because of copyright issues. In SDL, which is a similar thing. It's a framework. You have to make your own thing. I've done it once before. I can do it again. And this is what I'm going to be doing now. Trying my best to make another engine, this time with a more full game, not just one level of Super Mario Bros. In a tool, with a full game. What you actually get is literally just a screen. Oh, there we go. A screen to render from. And the ability to package images in, and then you get keyboard sounds, and you can export this to Switch and that kind of stuff. Well, that's all you get. Actually, they actually give you a bit more code actually than I thought. Cornflower blue is your background, and draw. Let's go back into here. And let's go into understanding the code. They give you a bunch of code to start doing stuff with, to make your sprite batch and all that gubbins. And what I would like to do, ideally, inside of here, is I would like to try to add myself a nice little gameplay loop. That would be something that would manage keyboards and maybe, actually no, first make a scene, then make keyboards. Yeah, let's do a scene. Things are loaded into this majigger over here in a particular way where you add a key and you stick them into here. Now this here serializes it. So if you ever used Unity, what Unity does is it serializes things when you stick it inside of your asset browsery thing, and everything that gets used serializes it. In Unreal, it does the exact same thing. It makes a little package for you, serializes it, jobs are good. And Mono does the exact same thing. That's its serializer, that content MGCB. So if you stick it inside of there, it will serialize it and make it all nice and small. You don't have to use it. There is another way of using it. It's not pretty. It's inside the documentation. But there is another way of doing it. Nope. Ah, so this here did actually stick this in. Interesting. Very interesting. I have this open now. Delete this. Can I delete this? Edit. Delete? No? You're not letting me do that? Okay. I'll delete this. I'll delete it. You'll rebuild. Come on, rebuild. So now it's in there. Nope. Content file was not found. So it's not like it's not a PNG. Here. If it works, it actually shows up with the actual things. In here, it says to me that it's not loaded correctly. Which is frustrating. Why can't I do the most simple thing? That is so frustrating. Do I have to... Oh. Don't tell me that was it. I'm just going too fast. Am I going too fast for it? I didn't press save. Every single time you do something in this application, you have to press save, apparently. I need a break for that. That's just ridiculous. Okay. Okay. Awesome. So textures random is there. I'm going to get rid of it. In fact, we have... Technically, we have our game engine-y bit up here. And we want this to be a sort of... Can we do that over here? Yeah, that's fine. We have this as sort of one-to-many relationship over here. So one game engine will own many scenes, probably via a manager at some point. And then we'll probably end up having some kind of game object. Almost every single game ends up having a game object at some point below it, right? So we have our scene here, and almost every single game has some kind of game object eventually below it. And all the way down through this, you end up owning many of these. And then below all of this here, you have your actual specific logic things down here that actually like do stuff. Like the things that actually are these, that literally are these. That's sort of the way that sort of goes. Like that. So how do I do this here? Do I make a game object and give it that graphicsy thing? that keyboardy thing, perhaps a soundy thing, and say, go for it, son, and go from there? Or do I have something else? So at the moment we have a graphics service thing over here, which isn't really a proper service, but it's just a little module that just owns the things from that. It doesn't exist without this, right? But it's passed through into scene, right? Do I pass this all the way through into this? That wouldn't be the worst idea in the universe. It would mean it can manage its own drawer, and then we can call it draw. That's fine. I'm happy with passing, at the moment, I'm happy with passing down its own drawer. Because that means game object could have a tile set. Game object could have its own sprite implementation. Fine with that. Graphics service is not the worst thing it could have. However, here is the little thing that might be a little bit difficult. If we have a key input situation, yes, I can pass this all the way in from, you know, through the chain, you know, all the way down through that chain into game object. But where, pray tell, in this diagram, would I have the idea that I keep in the controller? That this button here is universally now mapped to jump, not, you know, this button here is not jump. Where is that logic living here? That's the question I need to answer now. Yep. Okay, so what gameplay input would do is it would say, here's an input from the gamepad. I'm going to assign that to this value because you've told me to. And the same with key inputs. And then what you do with that is whatever you want, my friend. I do not care. And I'll fire off whatever events you want me to fire off. I will do whatever. But that's all I do, is I just manage the idea that these two things are coupled inside of this. But vitally, I am inside of the thing that gets passed around to everything. And we're going to call this service. We're going to call this service game input service. Very creative name, and be more creative if draw let me do that. Game input service, and it manages all of it. Okay, too much. So we're having game input service, and for now all I care about is keyboard service. So keyboard input service. We'll go with that for now. Now I do not know how to do keyboard input. No idea. We can do get state, is key down, and there's a key. We'll do that. So keyboard service does bool is key down, keys, key is key down. Okay, is key down. What do I need for this? I need... Oh, this is a public static as well. Now, you might be wondering why I'm making all of these myself, and why, pray tell, I am making these all... why I'm making these all interfaces and things of that nature. That is because I will be doing test-driven development on these at some point when I make these into separate projects and go off and do the next stage of this, which is more refactoring. We'll probably end up using test-driven development on all of these, especially with this bit where it's keyboard input. We will be making it seem as though I have pressed a key down and seeing what my system actually does in code to confirm my functionality. And we can do that by using this interface where there's no actual code in there. There is just the idea that a key is or is not pressed down. Okay, so we actually have input now inside of our thing. So here's what we're going to do. We have our Photoshop here. We're going to do this. I'm going to type A into here. This one, Shift. We're going to type A into here. We're not in the right folder here. Why do you do this to me? Okay, A. Now I'm going to change the color to this color. Those are the colors I had for the actual overlay, so I already had these colors ready for me. A pressed. Cool. Say bool render rest. Let's not overcomplicate this. This is a bool, so okay. And then down here we'll just say if this else something else p asset, so the wait, which one did we copy? The pressed one. So the pressed one is this, and I guess the unpressed one is the one without the word pressed on it. Cool. So with that in mind, we go down to here. We want it to be that one. And go for it, I guess. So where's it gonna happen? That just works. You can hear it, I can see it on the thing. Xbox controller will definitely work because it'd be X input. So if anything works, it'll be this. Yep, told you. And my keyboard doesn't work. But that does. Okay, so that's pretty easy, but I need to do a whole bunch of configuration to make that work. Because what I need to do